So Yogena is by yoga, word by word. Chittasya of the mind. Padena, Patanjali has written a commentary on Panini's grammar aphorisms. That is Padena. Vacha means of our speech. Malam. Malam is common. Chittasya malam yogena. Vacha malam padena. Sharirasya of the body. Cha and Vaidyakena by the science of medicine. So Patanjali is credited for the Charak Samhita we read in Ayurveda. That is also by Patanjali. So one who removed the impurity of the mind by yoga, impurity of the language by his commentary, and impurity of the body by his medical science, yo apakarot, one who has removed them. Pravaram Muninam, chief among the thinkers. Patanjali, that is Patanjali. Pranjali means with folded hands. Anato means bowed down. Asmi, I am. I am bowed down to that Patanjali. Okay? Please take it up.
Yes, Maharaj.
So, the first question has been answered. Now I take another question, and that is, well, I take an interesting question now. Ayan Banerjee has asked a question. After hearing yesterday's talk, he thinks, so an atheist cannot meditate, he has asked. So, an atheist, can he not meditate? That is his question. Now, please listen carefully. I am asking, counter question, who is an atheist? Swami Vivekananda says, I am myself replying, older religions said that one who does not believe in God, what God? Who is separate from the world and from myself, is an atheist. One who does not believe in God, separate from me and the world, is an atheist. Older religion said. Swamiji then adds, but the new religion says that he who does not believe in himself is an atheist. He who does not believe in himself is an atheist. So, Mr. Ayan Banerjee, do you not believe in yourself? If you do not believe in yourself, you cannot do anything in the world. And if you believe in yourself, you can definitely meditate. So, Patanjali's science does not require faith in God in the beginning. Yesterday I was telling not a separate God. Yesterday I was telling God who is my real nature. Yesterday I was telling about God who is the real nature of all of us. That is the God. And do we not believe in such a God who is my real nature? So, I take up another question in the linking with this. Question is from Damodar Kulkarni. Yesterday I replied, but I am taking that again. Please explain the concept of Ishvara in short. Confusion. Normally we see the God as superpower, like Rama, Krishna. Patanjali has different concept. I request Damodar Kulkarni and all others of that type, please do not think of God only as power. This will mislead you. God has all the power, but don't think God is a power. The first thought about God is He is Satchit Ananda. His existence, consciousness, bliss. He is one without a second. He is my real nature, your real nature, everybody's real nature. He is the samashti. He is the sum total of all the jivas. This is the God about whom I was talking. The God which we believe is not away from this universe, what they call extra cosmic God. That is the older religions. We never believed in an extra cosmic God sitting beyond 9 clouds and is controlling this world. Such a God we do not believe. And we don't say God is power only. When I asked some new young men, what is God? They said power. I said, like what? Formless. Like what? They could not reply. I said, like electric? They said, yes. Can electricity, a jada power, control this world? Can a material power, maybe with form or without form, please mind you, never think of God as only power. First and foremost, God is Sat Chit Ananda. God is existence, knowledge or consciousness and bliss. He is our own real nature. He is the real nature of every jiva. He is the Srishti Sthiti Pralayakari God. He is the sum total of all the jivas. So, now, Anand Banerjee, does he not believe in such a God? So, I replied to two questions together. Now I take up another. Prakash.
धन्यवाद साहब महाराज जी.
Prakash DC. Okay. Your question. If I am devoted to God, I reach Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I become totally transformed. Question. If the question is this, I started replying. If the mind is purely devoted to God and reach the Asamprajnata Samadhi directly, does it leave any impression? Impression is a very, very, very small thing. It completely transforms you. You are not what you were previously. If you reach Samadhi, Nirvikal Samadhi, my word is Nirvikal Samadhi, by loving God, I'll use an English expression, transformation of consciousness and transfiguration of personality. Sri Ramakrishna has given the example. There is a sword by which we cut the enemies in the war. Suppose the sword is touched with a philosopher's stone, Sparchamani. It becomes gold. It is totally changed. Its use is not cutting enemies. And its value is totally changed. Perhaps you may keep it in the puja group because it is gold. Such a transformation of character takes place in Samadhi. If by loving God, we reach the absolute Nirvikalpa Samadhi, we no longer remain what we were previously. This is my reply. So no question of leaving some impressions. All our previous impressions were created because I thought I am separate from God. I am a subject in this world of objects. That is how the sanskaras are generated. But they are all removed and totally personality is transformed. That is my reply to Prakash. Then there was a question from Jyoti Agarwala. Very important question. How do we get to Nirbija Samadhi from Alaukika Pratyaksha? Now, two different replies I will give, according to Patanjali, according to Vedanta. Because this word is not used by Patanjali. This word is used by Vedanta, Alaukik Pratyaksha. So according to Vedanta, Alaukik Pratyaksha is a middling stage. It ends in Aparoksha Anubhav. Please try to understand this Aparoksha Anubhav. Something is in my mind, say happiness or misery. My eyes or ears cannot reach my mind. But my eyes or ears are not required to reach the mind. I know directly what is in my mind. I do not require the testimony of others, nor the testimony of my sense organs. Now, take it still more inside. I want to know myself. Mind cannot reach there. and mind is not required there. I am much inside myself than my mind. Mind is outside. So mind cannot reach there is all right, but mind is not required. I know myself much more directly. So this Alokit Pratyaksha reaches a stage which is called Aparoksha Anubhav. That means not immediacy of anything, not seen by others. Is the expression will be non-indirect. Immediate awareness. Immediate does not mean about time. Immediate means no mediacy. No mediacy of indriyas or mind. If such samadhi we gain, then the question is, then we know our real nature. This is the Vedantic answer. We know our real nature and no question of any bij or dualism remains there. The bija, sabija and nirbija are the words used by Patanjali. Sabija means I, subject, world, objects. And the seed of transmigration or my getting birth again is very much there. When the difference between myself and my real nature goes away, now I'm shifting to Patanjali. Patanjali says that any samadhi is not Patanjali's aim. He has declared in the second sutra, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, not allowing any vritti to rise. And all the samadhis which he has prescribed, called Samprajnata Samadhi, are there to make the mind powerful. When the mind becomes fully powerful, it can detach itself from any subject and object relation or any perception of the Prakriti. According to Patanjali, Prakriti is like a dancing girl. We are looking at her. After some time, we say, enough, I don't want to look at you. This by Patanjali is called the Asamprajnata Samadhi. So when my mind has become very powerful due to my practice of Samprajnata Samadhi, that is what Patanjali has been warning us. If you directly try to go to Asamprajnata Samadhi, you will become either a god or Prakriti in Purusha. You will not be free from transmigration. But after Samprajnata Samadhi, when you have known the difference between Purusha and Prakriti, now you try to dissociate with Prakriti. You know Purusha, you are Purusha. You know you are not Prakriti. You know you are separate from Prakriti. Patanjali was that far only. Vedanta will say Prakriti is Maya, Prakriti is your own Prakriti, Prakriti is unreal, Prakriti has no existence. Patanjali does not talk about it because he has based his Yoga Sutras on Sankhya philosophy, in which there is no place for God, there is no place for one common entity between all of us. There is no talk of Brahman, the word Brahman does not appear in Patanjali. So there is no common entity. We are all separate beings. So what will happen? We are separate beings and we are separate from Prakriti. Now, if we, through Samprajnata Samadhi, we have become aware that we are Purushas, we are not Prakriti. With this power now, Patanjali says, you can dissociate yourself from Prakriti. You can decide, I will not look at Prakriti. That is, according to Patanjali, the Asamprajnata Samadhi. So, I have described Jyoti Agarwala, both the sides, the Vedantic side will make me realize by Aparoksha Anubhav, I am one with God. There is no Prakriti. The Prakriti has gone into nothingness. It was God's Maya power to appear as manifold through names and forms, including my own name and form. So, this is the Vedantic position. Followed both positions, but according to Patanjali, we are able to dissociate ourselves from Prakriti and we dissociate. So the final step taken is dissociation with Prakriti. That he calls Asamprajnata Samadhi. Okay? So from
Yes.
Alokik Pratyaksha, we proceed further and we come to this point. I think I replied, no, one more question is there. That is after the lecture on the Wednesday, on the 6th, that is Monday's talk. And that was by two people, same question has come. One is by Anuradha Bhattacharya and by Ayan Banerjee also. And the question is, Anuradha's question. Nowadays, attention deficit syndrome is very prevalent in children and adults. How can these children be helped? Oh, she is not about helping the adults. Ayan Banerjee asks, how can children be helped about attention deficit issue as they are not supposed to be understood about spirituality? Peculiar question. Anyway, now question is not about children. When the question is asked about children, the responsible people, the guardians, the parents, the teachers, the media managers, the society, everybody becomes responsible for the children. Children cannot think for themselves. Children cannot act for themselves. When we are using the word children, guardians, parents, media, society, we are responsible. And so, I blame all of us, not the children. We are lost. Well, if I take some name, please don't point it. America does not believe in control. It is taught there. Why should we control? No, if you teach children that control is not necessary, what will they do? How they will have attention? So, in our house, I will give an example. Say about 40, 50 years back, because I have seen at that time, so I am telling you. I am telling about one particular family. Children or boys or girls were allowed to go outside to play, to walk, to do whatever they like in the afternoon. But there was an unwritten code that as soon as there is sunset, they must be back to their houses. And coming back, they should wash their hands and feet, sit quietly if there is any deity in the house or in a separate room and think somehow about God. Try to memorize some stotras. Ram Raksha Stotra was very prevalent. In the UP side, Hanuman Chalisa is prevalent. So some mode of thinking of God, now that has vanished. That has vanished. The evenings have vanished because we play football, we play badminton, we play cricket under lights. So where is the evening now? Another important point is, can you teach the children to remember the Gayatri Mantra? If the children can recite Gayatri Mantra morning and evening, or at least in the morning, they will not lose their attention. They will not lose their concentration. They will not lose their memory. So there are the various methods. And if the boys are allowed, what they are doing? Children seeing TV. I tell you, about 50 years back or 60 years back, I read this in papers. The American government had set up a committee to analyze the fall of education in high schools in America. And the committee, after 6 months of study, came up with this solution, the diagnosis. It is the color TV and going steady. They are responsible for the fall of education. You know what is this going steady? You know, from childhood, let the boys and girls stay together. That is going steady. Let them marry or not marry, let them study together. And the committee had found that this is responsible for the loss of attention, but no political will to correct it. And we are, in India, we are imitating the West without understanding the pitfalls thereof. I will tell you a funny story on this point. I was in Nagpur. One gentleman from Mumbai came. And just before that, the high skyscrapers had come in Nagpur. So he asked me, the experiment which has failed in Mumbai, why you are doing it in Nagpur? I said, when the experiments failed in London and New York, then you did it in Mumbai. So when the experiments have failed in Mumbai, Nagpur is doing it. So there are several factors for this. And if we correct ourselves, if we change our lifestyle, I am bound to tell you, children will not go astray. We are responsible. We have lost our values. And if we allow the thing to, what is happening in the world, you know today, one word I am using that for, drift. Drift is what is happening. And this drift, or on one day I used the word pramada. Patanjali had used the word pramada. And it was told to Dhritarashtra, pramada vai mrityu, Rajan. This slackness leads to loss of attention. One has to be tight. All the scriptures tell us, Indriyas are like horses. Mind is like the rein you put on the horses. Intellect is like the charioteer. So if the intellect properly guides the mind, and mind never lose their control over the organs, then only your life will be successful. Otherwise, now, I will tell another thing for the modern times. Ramakrishna Mission is producing many books on value education. So through stories or somehow, if you can impress upon the children that if you lose your attention, you lose everything. I use another English proverb for this, not attention, but you understand. If wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. If character is lost, everything is lost. So loss of attention will lead to loss of character. Now, if we can set up what is in our hands? We can set up an atmosphere in our house, in society, through the media, through everything. Through media, we are trying to distract the minds of the children. And then we say they are losing attention. So, this is the answer to the question about losing attention. Now, let me come back to the second chapter. Now, second chapter is in a way reply to this question, this very question. Let me read the first sutra of the second chapter, and as my friends have suggested to me, I will read and tell the English of each word. So the first sutra of the second chapter is Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. Tapa, you see, these things cannot be literally translated. There are many Sanskrit words which have no equivalent in English. But I will explain them later on. The rough translation can be love of hardship. Tapa can be love of hardship. There is one thing to be taught. Swadhyaya. I am just using word by word, no? Not the sentence. Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya has two meanings. Study of scriptures is one meaning, and repetition of mantra or any holy text is another meaning of Swadhyaya. And then Ishvara Pranidhan. So again, Patanjali has brought Ishvara. And Pranidhan here cannot mean the profound meditation, because Kriya Yoga, I should have told that first. Kriya Yoga means first chapter has given you Samadhipad, concentrations of various orders and grades, and it is expected that you can follow that. Suppose you are not able to follow them. If you are not able to concentrate your mind, where to start? That is Kriya Yoga. You have to do something. Kriya Yoga means some action which leads to real yoga. So don't forget, yoga chitta vritti nirodh, yoga tat prapti upaya. So through some action of our mind you, not body, through some action of our mind, we are being led to slowly chitta vritti nirodh. So if you cannot concentrate, then that is the problem. Second chapter is called Sadhana. Sadhana path, the means. And when we are not able to concentrate, then what are the means to be used? And that is, now I tell the meaning. So you understand? Three things to be practiced. If you are not able to concentrate your mind, how to bring your mind to a state where you can concentrate? I'll tell you some apparently funny thing. Bodhisattva, the 24th after Buddha, he went to China to teach Dhyana Buddhism, what is called Zen. He found the people's physical and mental habits unsuitable for any meditation. So he said, let me spend one generation, 20 years, in teaching them rhythmic exercise. All this which we get now, Kung Fu and this and that and the marital arts as we call it. Bodhisattva taught them a rhythmic physical action, 20 years. Then only their mind comes into a position where they can meditate. So, if we are not able to concentrate, it has become a funny thing now. I will tell you another thing. Swami Vivekananda himself has told it. He says, in the West, if somebody feels he wants to become religious, what he does, you know? He takes up his hat and starts a collection. Because religion for them starts from some unselfish action. And Swamiji says, in India, as soon as we think we should be religious, we search for a cave to sit and meditate. But those days are gone. We Indians still search for meditation, but we are unable to do it. Our minds have not remained what they were. Our minds have been influenced by the Western, I don't use the word culture. I don't call it culture. Anti-culture, I will call it. The Western influence has been so much over us, we have lost the capacity to meditate. Only due to old sanskaras, we think of meditation. That is what Patanjali is telling here. Some people can concentrate. Let them follow the first chapter. And in first chapter, he has led us directly up to Samprajnata and Asamprajnata Samadhis. But those who cannot concentrate, now you can include this. One more small point I forgot when we are teaching the attention point. In our childhood, we were taught to memorize the tables. You know the multiplication tables? We were made to memorize the names of the days of the week, the names of 12 months, the names of Rashis. Now I find many boys do not know them at all. What was the use? Attention. Attention was the use. So memorize whatever simple things you can. That will make your attention grow. So for this, Patanjali is telling us that if you cannot concentrate, use these three means. Now I come to the means. Before I come to the means again, the word I used is Kriya Yoga. Patanjali has used Kriya Yoga. Some action leading to yoga. Now, unfortunately, when I was in Rishikesh, I found every locality has a Kriya Yoga Ashrama. Even some famous people, I will not take their names, they have taken hold of some Kriya, Sudarshan Kriya. Now, all the Kriyas they mean are physical activities, breathing mostly, pranayama of different types. Patanjali does not call them Kriya. I will tell you an incident. In Rishikesh, there is a Vivek Ashram. Nothing to do with Swami Vivekananda, name is Vivek Ashram. And in the annual function, they used to call all the neighboring Swamis or Mahantas and even 10, 12 speakers in one day. Now the Vedantic Swamis, 2, 3 Swamis spoke in the beginning. And because they were Vedantic Swamis, they used the word again and again that the world is mithya, that the world is unreal. Anyway, but this was one of the main important points which they are speaking. Now, after 3 lectures, came the turn of one head of a Kriya Yoga Ashrama. And he started telling in India, जगत मिथ्या सुनते सुनते काने परत पड़ गया. That means by hearing this, Jagat is mithya, so much dirt has come in my ears. My ears have become blocked. And then he said, something you do some kriya, then only you will get the result. After him was my lecture. And he was again a sannyasi, who has done Viraja Homa according to Vedanta. So I said, if Jagat Mithya hearing, your ears have become blocked, why you have taken sannyas? Our Viraja Homa tells us that Jagat is false. That is the basis of sannyas, Vedantic sannyas. Why you have taken that? And by doing something, if you get something, we call it karma phal. It will never be permanent. So, Kriya Yoga word has been misused by many people. Some Kriya they prescribe and you get some result. For a time your mind becomes peaceful. There are so many funny things in this world. Anyway, I am not dwelling much into them, but Kriya Yoga, Patanjali has used this word, Tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. Now Tapa. What Tapa is and what Tapa is not. Some people think standing on one leg is tapasya, standing in water is tapasya. In the Gita, in the 17th chapter, Bhagavan has criticized them. He says, those who trouble me, who am the inner reality of all, that is not tapasya. Then the best definition, there are hundreds of definitions of tapasya. But the best definition is 17th chapter of the Gita, shlokas 14, 15, 16. The Sharirika tapasya, the Vachika tapasya, and the Manasik tapasya. I don't think any better description of tapasya can be found anywhere. So, I will tell you the shlokas. As much of that we can take, we have to take, but Bhagavan is telling. 14. Deva Dvija Guru Pradnya Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Cha Shariram tapa uchyate. Deva is God. Dvija is educated people. I will make a general, wider translation. Guru, your own teacher. Prajna, again, that were learned. Dvija is learned people. Prajna is wise people. Pujanam, if you worship them. Shaucham, keep yourself clean. Arjavam, straightness of the mind. Brahmacharyam, as much as possible. Ahimsa, they are called the bodily tapasya. Then, vachik tapasya. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapa uchyate. 4 qualities should be there for every sentence you utter. Or all 4 should be there. Anudvega karam. It should not produce excitation in the listener. Vakyam, your word will be your sentence. Satyam, it should be truthful. Priya, and you should speak in such a way, in which it will be liked, dear to the person. Hitam chayat. And most important is that it will be beneficial to him or to you or to both. If it is not going to be beneficial to him or you, don't speak at all. All these 4 qualities should be there in whatever you speak. Non-excitable, truth, dear, and beneficial. Then another part, which Patanjali is stating in the next word, Swadhyaya, same thing. Study of scriptures or japa, abhyasanam, the repetition of Swadhyaya. So these are the vachika tapasya. Then manasika tapasya, mana prasada, keep the mind tranquil and blessed. How to keep? Patanjali has taught us. Maitri Karuna Moditu Upekshanam. Saumyatvam, gentleness. Your appearance to the lookers should be such that it gives peace in their mind. That is Saumya. Maunam, do not speak where it is not necessary. Atma Vinigra, controlling your whole body. Bhava Sanshuddhi. That means what is in your mind you should speak. Your mind should correspond to your speech should correspond to your mind. That is Bhava Sanshuddhi. These are the mental tapasya. So, if you practice this tapasya, mind will be ready to concentrate. Then Swadhyaya, already I have told you, study of scriptures and repetition of some mantra or some holy text. You know, my Sikh friends, I asked them, what is your daily practice? They said, we go on reading again and again the Sukhamani Sahib. So in every religion, this repetition of a name is there. I have seen Mohammedan people, I have seen Christian people using the rosary. So this is also called Swadhyaya. That makes the mind ready for concentration. In our parlor, japa is the best method for going to meditation. That is what they think. Then, Ishvara Pranidhan. Now, Patanjali has come back to Ishvara. For those, if you are strong, if you can concentrate, he has not brought Ishvara. In the first chapter, he has told about Ishvara as an alternative method, not the regular method. Regular method, concentrate on some point, penetrate. But here again, those who are not able to concentrate, all of them he says Ishvara Pranidhan. Now, Pranidhan in the first chapter meant profound meditation. Here it cannot mean that, because it is being used only for those who cannot concentrate. So pranidhan has several meanings in the dictionary. And the meaning applicable here is dedication of your fruit of work to God. Dedicate the fruits of your work to God. That is called pranidhan. Now here again, I am myself puzzled. Patanjali's God is a Purusha Vishesha. How we can dedicate our fruits of karma to him? But that is what happens. Patanjali has seen people dedicating fruits of work to God. How? Because they know God is the doer. I am not the doer. If God is my reality, he is the doer. If God is the universal reality, he is the doer. So, I may appear to do something, but why should the fruit come to me? Let the fruit go to God. This is what Patanjali is prescribing. If you practice Ishvara Pranidhan, your mind will come to concentrate. Shall I give you examples? All these sannyasis and brahmacharis of Ramakrishna Mission stand testimony to this fact, that if we work sincerely for God, if we offer all our fruits of work to God, we are able to concentrate. So, this is what Patanjali has in the second chapter prescribed for those who cannot concentrate. Tapas Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhanani. What he says? Kriya Yoga. So these are the actions leading to yoga. You should follow them. Then comes next sutra. No, one more sutra is there. Kriya Yoga. Oh no, one full page is there, yes. Sutra 2. What will this Kriya Yoga do to you? The effect of Kriya Yoga are being told in the second sutra. Samadhi bhavanartha klesha tanu karanarthascha. Samadhi means concentration according to Patanjali. Bhavana here means the feeling for or the tendency to. You will have a tendency to concentrate if you have done these three practices. So can we teach this to children? Can we teach this to ourselves? So, why I am asking, Patanjali is telling us, why I am asking Tapas Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhan as Kriya Yoga? Because that will make your mind tend towards concentration. That will make your mind fit for concentration. And also it will do something more. Klesha tanu karanarthascha. Klesha is a technical term which he explains in the next sutra, and I have already explained it in the first chapter. Klesha means avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. We will come to that again. So there are certain shortcomings in man, there are certain basic imperfections in man, they are called klesha. Klesha will not go away by these three practices, but they will become powerless. Tanu karan. Tanu means making them thin, making them powerless. So, Tapas Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhan, which are called Kriya Yoga, has this result that it makes the mind move towards concentration, and it also makes kleshas very powerless. This is the thing. Now automatically the question has come, what is klesha? And from this only, we are described in the first chapter itself, because the word was used there, about Ishvara it was used. So Sutra 3, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, klesha. Klesha is our problems. Klesha means the troubles which we are facing in life. Our troubles are not due to outside world. The troubles which we face in our own life and mind are kleshas. What are they? Avidya. Avidya means ignorance. Ignorance, please, does not mean not knowing. Ignorance means wrong knowledge. Our knowledge of ourselves is wrong. Our knowledge of the world is wrong. That is the first klesha. Everybody who has not yet reached the goal is working under avidya. And this avidya gives rise to asmita. I am. What is this I am? I am this body. I am this indriyas. I am this mind. This is called asmita. Myness. Individuality. Personality. This is called asmita. This is the product of avidya. And then immediately we get attraction and repulsion. We like something, we dislike something. Raga is attachment, actually likes. Dvesha, detachment, actually revulsion or hatred or anger. So this continues in our life. These are the kleshas which are embedded in our personality so long as we have not reached the goal. And then abhinivesha. What is abhinivesha? The literal translation will be obsession. No, obsession about what? Not giving up this body. I want to live in this body. I don't want to die. We are afraid of death. We do not know that there is no death. So we attach to the body. I do not want to give up this life. That is so much in every one of us. And so, we are not talking about the abnormal minds which commit suicide, but this is what happens to us. So these kleshas, the power of all these kleshas will be reduced. They will become powerless if we follow Kriya Yoga, Tapaswadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhan. That is how Patanjali is proceeding in the second chapter. Fourth sutra, I have already used it. That is avidya kshetram itaresham. Avidya is the field in which all these are born. Avidya is the origin, or kshetra means field, farm, itaresham, of the other kleshas. And then avidya kshetram uttaresham prasupta tanu vichinna udaranam. I think enough. We'll take this sutra in the next class. Avidya is the root of all the others, and the state of all the others is sometimes sleeping. Anyway, I'll take it in my next class. Any questions, please? Any questions, please? Any comments, please? Are those who asked the questions, are they satisfied by now? I think though 1 hour is not over, let us conclude.
Yes, Maharaj. Your
Yes,
all questions, your all questions, you nicely explained the concept of God, which was my question. I am Damodar Kulkarni.
Huh?
One question has come from Bhavani Mukherjee.
Tell me, what is the question?
Maharaj, could you please explain Sri Ramakrishna's state when he cut his beloved Ma Kali's form, thought 1, with the sword of discrimination, thought 2, from the viewpoint of Patanjali Sutta, from the state of seated samadhi to seedless samadhi? There appears to be two thoughts. It was the final state before he plunged into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Thank you.
Okay. So Vedantic Savikalpa Samadhi you want, na? Now,
Yeah.
yes. Because Nirvikalpa is the word used in Vedanta, and you want how we approach that. We can approach it through many angles. Knowledge, if it enters our heart, if knowledge about God, Brahman, that I am identical with Brahman, Brahman is all pervasive, Brahman is transcendent over everything. Sarvatita Sarvavyapi is the Brahman. Brahman is Sat Chit Ananda Akhanda. I am Sat Chit Ananda Khandita, apparently. So, if the nature of knowledge of God is complete, as much as it can be, and I told you that day, some people were very much impressed by that God has some form. Even if you think God is formless, it is nothing but an unspecified form. So, mixing up Jnana and Bhakti, that God has some form. And there is a relation between me and God. I am a child, I am a servant, I am his instrument, etc., etc., etc. This produces an attraction in me, a pull, hichav, tan, od. This is what it produces, bhakti. So the knowledge of the nature of God produces a bhakti in me. And so the mind wants to go to God. But my old sanskaras of enjoyment, bhogas are there. They pull me outside here and there. And there comes the function of my will. I draw them back through will. Here also the Jnanis will say, you don't have to use your will much. Tell your mind that where you are going is only a shadow. The real joy is inside. The real joy is your very nature. And in this way you can pull your mind back. So when we do this, we attain to a state where myself and God, nothing of the world remains. Nothing of the world remains. That is where the height of Alaukik Pratyaksha reaches. It has also so many forms. The Vedantic form is Aham Brahmasmi, but not necessarily this. Bhav Samadhi of the Bhaktas is also Savikalpa Samadhi, because I am related to God. There is no outside world there. I am related to God as a child or even as his father or mother or darling or whatever. So I and God only remain there. This is called Savikalpa Samadhi, where the world does not, Samadhi because the world does not exist there, my full absorption is there in God, but I am there. That is called Savikalpa. Other than God, I am there. That is called Savikalpa. And when this love increases, I melt in God. So this is how Savikalpa, the two explanations were given by my teacher. Savikalpa has a tremendous joy, uncomparable joy. And this joy pulls me inside and inside and inside. An example was given. You know jalebi, the Indian sweet jalebi. Now jalebi, if it is perfectly prepared and then put in the syrup and you put just a little pressure over it, then what happens? You will say the syrup enters the jalebi. I will say the jalebi enters the syrup. And entering the jalebi gets lost in a way in the syrup. Syrup has completely gone into jalebi. This is one way of thinking how Savikalpa leads me to Nirvikalpa. But there is another way also. I go nearer and nearer God. A very important psychological point I am telling. The nearer I am to God, the more painful I feel, because I find myself not yet completely gone into God. The nearer I am to God, I feel I am far away from God. If I am far away, I don't feel God at all. If I feel somewhat nearer, I feel happy. But I am very near to God, and yet this I is not going. So this pain leads me to the Nirvikala Samadhi. This pain that I have not yet merged into God gives me a flash that I am not separate from God. So I think, as I understood the question, that Jnana or Bhakti leading to Nirvikalpa Samadhi through Savikalpa Samadhi, this Savikalpa Samadhi maybe take the form I am Brahmasmi, or it may take any relation with God. That is also Savikalpa Samadhi. And this through my love to God, this through my attraction for God will make me lose myself into God. And myself will not be lost. I will become God then. I will become identified with God. I will not remain separate from God. This is what the Vedanta or Bhakti both teach us. Okay? Om yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopa karottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.